2023.
Recording started.
Now that the recording started, I'll say that again. Okay. Welcome everybody to our August 2023 Animal Reiki Talk. I'm excited to be here tonight to talk about animal agency in the Animal Reiki session. And I'm going to actually be talking about 3 different levels of agency that we can encourage when we do Reiki with animals that really gives them a greater sense of trust and well-being, and can really deepen our effectiveness in connecting with them and make the experience for them much better, a much better, rich, fuller experience for them in the Reiki session. And then, of course, I'll open it up for Q&A. Anybody wants to share anything, and then we will finish tonight with our animal healing circle like we always do, where we'll meditate together and hold a space of love and light for animals in need, animals that we would like to bring into our circle tonight. So first of all, I want to let everybody know that if you go to my website on the homepage, the latest blog, the blog that was released today, is called Animal Reiki and Animal Agency. And I've written, I really enjoyed researching for this blog and writing this blog this month. And I have written about, what is animal agency? What is the scientific research on animal agency and how it makes animals happier and increases their well-being? And what are some of the ways that animal welfare organizations are helping animals by encouraging their agency? And so if you're interested in this topic, please do check out the blog, because there's a lot of links to a lot of really cool and interesting things that are happening in the world of animal wellness to do with encouraging agency. But tonight, in this talk here on Animal Reiki Talk, we're going to focus and hone in on just agency for animals as it relates to the Animal Reiki session. And those of you who are Let Animals Lead method students know that this is really the guiding principle behind all of the teachings in level 1, 2, and 3 certifications in the Let Animals Lead method. It's all about recognizing, honoring, and encouraging animal agency within animal Reiki sessions. So first, we should probably start by asking, what is animal agency? And animal agency is the capacity of animals to make their own choices and to influence their lives. And when animals exercise their agency, this can also influence the lives of those around them. And animals can also influence their environment by practicing agency. And there's actually been a lot of research to show that animals can actually heal the environment when we let them just live more freely as they are meant to live on the planet, that it creates a balanced and healed environment. So agency is not the only factor in an animal's life. The other part of it is structure. And structure is the things that limit or influence the opportunities for animals to express their agency. So human agency is recognized as, a thing, and very important. And we always want to have action and express our preferences and our choices in our lives. So if we love animals and if we care about them, shouldn't agency be a central question that we are asking ourselves? How do I give my animals more agency? And so, as I said in my blog, I talk about all the different ways different animal caregivers and animal welfare people and organizations and scientists, how they are finding more and more ways to honor animal agency for all different kinds of animals, the ones who live with us, the ones who are in shelters, and the ones in the wild. So it's really a cutting edge, interesting topic that I hope that you guys will want to delve into more. But tonight I want to talk about how this relates to our animal Reiki practice. So as an animal Reiki practitioner, in the context of connecting with animals in Reiki, if we can create more ways for animals to be who they are, to express their preferences, to make choices, and to take their own autonomous action. We can learn so much from these animals. We can also deepen our bond with them. And this also helps heal some of the wounds that have been created against animals by people in the world, because they recognize us as a person who's giving them this freedom and this choice. So because animal Reiki sessions are about healing, it makes sense that agency should be central in that dynamic, in the Reiki dynamic. There are two ways to look at a Reiki session with an animal. One way is I'm the practitioner, I'm in charge, I create the structure, and then the animal has to live within that structure. The other idea is to say, animals are going to lead the session. I'm going to do everything I can to encourage their preference, their choice, their autonomy, their independence, and to honor however they choose to connect or even not connect. And I'm going to loosen the structure of the animal Reiki method as much as possible so that they can have fuller expression and fuller freedom within the space. And that philosophy is, of course, the philosophy of the Let Animals Lead method. So I'm excited to talk about it more in depth tonight. So tonight I want to talk about the 3 levels of agency in an animal Reiki session that we can and should be encouraging. Again, research has shown that the more agency we give animals, the deeper their well-being, their sense of that everything's okay, their sense of confidence, their sense of peace, and their sense of happiness within themselves. So if we want them to have that sense of wholeness and good feeling within a Reiki session, we need to practice this as much as possible. The first level of agency that we can encourage within an animal Reiki session is physical agency. So this, I'm talking about here, the animal's control over their own body and the space around them, and even their environment around them. So this means, from a practitioner's point of view, first you want to look at the space that they're in, and you don't want to force them to be with you in the space, or prevent them from leaving the space, or force them to be on your lap and initiate touch and force them to be confined, or put a dog on a leash or cross tie a horse, or do something to keep them confined within your structure of your session that you're working on. So we want to think of how do we let go of those structures, those physical structures that hinder their autonomy and their choice, and how do we open up a world of physical freedom for them in a Reiki session? So first we could talk about the environment. So what the ideal way to offer Reiki to an animal is that they have a lot of space to move, and they even can leave the space if they wish. This is more easily done if we're in our own home with our animals, because then they can just leave the room and go somewhere else if they don't want to share the session with us. But, or let's say we're in a pasture with a horse, the horse can just leave and go to the other side of the pasture, right? So there's a lot of environments where this is very easy. But then when we're talking about maybe a shelter environment where the animal is confined due to, their situation, now as a practitioner, we have to think really carefully and think, what can I do to create more space for them to have physical control in this situation? So the first thing is we would never want to go in that kennel with them unless they invite us in, unless they show us through their body language that they really want us to come in with them. So always doing the session from outside the kennel unless invited. And then once you're outside the kennel, then you can even create more space. So not being right outside the kennel, but backing up. You can also think about the direction that you're facing. You don't have to face the animal. You can face away from the animal, or even sideways where you can kind of see them, but you're not openly directing anything to them. So you're really giving them the idea that your physical presence is not disturbing them in any way. And they can choose to walk away to the other side of their kennel and not engage, and you're not going to push on that physical sensitivity that they might have. So When we are very conscious about the animal's physical environment and physical touch, that is recognizing the animal has power to make decisions. And here I can talk about, there's some nuance here with physical agency. So some people might say, well, I like to do the hand position, so I'm going to just go over and put my hands on the animal. But then I give them freedom to walk away if they don't want that physical touch. Well, giving the animal freedom to react to what you do is only a very low level of agency that you're inviting the animal to show. But if you don't approach the animal physically in the first place, now the animal has the opportunity to have an intentional behavior to come forward to you, or not, or to move away from you. But in other words, their physical agency and the actions they take are not based on reacting to the leadership you have or the structure you've created. You're backing away and holding space so that they are the ones that determine that physical action completely. Does that make sense? So this is a higher level of agency. We're giving them more freedom. And again, as I said, if they are in a place of confinement, then really being conscious of like how high you are in the space. If you're taller, that may make them uncomfortable. You maybe want to get down on the ground, and then thinking about your physical distance. What I always do is, if an animal looks a little uncomfortable at my physical presence, I'll keep backing up until they don't notice me anymore. And then I'm like, okay, they don't even notice that I'm in their space. Now this is where I'm going to sit. That gives them the opportunity to come forward and have that choice. So you have the power to do that, to give them that physical agency where they really don't feel confined. You're giving them that real freedom in the session. Another way to give an animal physical agency is to include all the animals in the family. When you go, let's say you go to someone's house and one of their dogs is sick and they have a whole family of dogs and cats that live there. Sometimes we might think, oh, well, I'm going to shut all the animals out and I'm just going to sit in the room with the animal who's sick. But this is actually taking agency away from those other animals to either maybe they also feel stressed from the animal that they in their family who's sick, so maybe they want to join the session, or B, maybe they want to support the animal and support you to co-create an even stronger, beautiful space of healing. So you're denying them that opportunity to come in and take part. So we want to open it up to everybody, see it as a whole family experience, giving animals choice to come in the room, leave the room, take part, not take part, really thinking about the physical nature of what you're doing, because Reiki is such a spiritual art. Sometimes we forget about those physical aspects, but they really are a great way to help the animal feel more trust, feel a deeper bond with you, because you're giving them that space to make those physical choices and show you their physical preference. So that's physical agency. The second level that I want to talk about today is mental and emotional agency. This is where we're talking about an animal's ability to express their preferences and to express their own thoughts and their own emotions within the context of a Reiki session. We're giving them that room to really be who they are. And first, I want to say that we want to acknowledge, when we talk about mental, emotional agency, we want to acknowledge that animals are much more sensitive energetically to our thoughts and our emotions than we humans are to each other. So actually, sometimes we humans can also feel emotions from someone. Like if you're in a shop and somebody's really angry who's in there, you can like almost feel that anger coming off of them, right? Animals are 100 times, 1,000 times more sensitive to human emotion and even our thoughts. Even if our thoughts are thinking about worrying about what's wrong with them, or thinking about their ailment, whatever it is, or worrying about, oh no, are they going to get better, or are they going to have surgery, or what's going to happen? That creates an energy that they sense and feel, an emotional response from us too. that makes them very uncomfortable, and they may want to feel like, I don't want to connect and I want to leave. It's not a peaceful space for them to connect to. So first of all, we want to acknowledge the special powers of animals, the special powers of animals to sense our emotional and mental state. Okay, so that means in order to create mental, emotional agency in a Reiki session for animals, we have to monitor and self-regulate our own emotions and our own thoughts. And the way that we do this in the Let Animals Lead method is by something I call seeing with your Reiki eyes. But what it means is seeing the wholeness, seeing the animal as whole, and like feeling the energy that all is well in this moment, and just really radiating that emotional space, and the mental thoughts not honing in on what's wrong, but seeing deeper and seeing the light. Even if it's in a dark moment, we are the holders of the light, and we keep the light in that moment. So by letting go of what's wrong and focusing on the positivity, the wholeness, seeing the light, what we're really doing with our mental and emotional energy, which animals sense and feel, is we're not creating an agenda and an expectation for the session. We're staying open and accepting of the animal's choices. And we're recognizing the animal's autonomy and independence. Okay. So what we want to do is strive for peace, stillness, and calm. We are the mountain. Sometimes I say we're like a mountain for the animal. The animal may be going through turbulent times, but we are the still, calm mountain holding that grounded space for them. Then if we are calm, they now can express their thoughts and their emotions without our influence, without worrying about us, without being affected by the chaos of our own emotions and thoughts, without worrying about our expectations and agenda. They can actually just be in that moment how they want to be. Maybe, an animal's going through a difficult time physically, or maybe they're going through a difficult time emotionally. Maybe you're working with an animal in a shelter setting who's been abused or who's been traumatized and has a lot of emotion. Just hold a space of peace and love for them while they, go through whatever they're going through. It's like you say to the animal, I'm here, all is well, I see your light, no matter what. And this gives the animal sort of room to heal. Sometimes the way that humans respond to animal problems is by suppression. We just try to push down and not give or punish the animal if they're showing for example, severe anxiety or something, and we try to squelch it and squish it, right? So as a Reiki practitioner, we want them to tell us, how are you feeling? And I see you, but even though you feel this way, I'm here to tell you all is well. All is well. So it helps build trust with an animal when a human does not have chaotic emotions. So even if the animal comes to us in a chaotic state, they feel the stillness, the peacefulness, and it makes them feel safe in that moment. And so I've seen I've had many experiences with animals in shelter settings who have this high level of stress, who totally, they pace and they sort of wander around and they're totally stressed, and all of a sudden they turn and they look at me and they come right over and lay down and pass out like, oh, and you can see the physical, emotional relief. But I didn't push them okay, you're not allowed to feel nervous. You need to come over. You need to sit on my lap. I need to give you healing right now. I'm just holding the space. For some animals that I worked with in shelters over the years, it may take several sessions, or it may take a period of months going every week, sitting with them. It may take a period of 3 months or 5 months or six months even for you to start seeing them healing on that mental, emotional level. But it has to be on their timeline. So this is another way that we encourage their mental, emotional, agency, is to let go of the timeline for when they need to get better, and just have that feeling of acceptance and that all is well. However you are meeting this moment with me is fine, is perfect. So these are ways that we can encourage mental emotional agency. And finally, I want to talk about the third level of agency that we encourage in an animal Reiki session, and this is spiritual agency. Now, Reiki means spiritual energy. So really, this seems the easiest one, because what we're doing with Reiki is we're creating a space of compassion. We are remembering that we're all one, we're all connected. I am the light, you are the light. We're standing in that light together. And that spiritual connection is extremely healing. That is really what creates that wellness moment and that beautiful healing space that can happen, is in that spiritual space. But I want you to consider something, that if we think of agency of the spirit for an animal, what does that mean? First, we have to say, well, animals have spirits. Animals have a spiritual life. A spiritual life meaning they are able to transcend their self into a more of a connected space to a whole. They're able to experience their life with a sense of awe and wonder and connectedness beyond just their selves, right? And scientists actually have been studying this, and about, do animals have a spirit? Do animals have a spiritual life aspect to their life? And they've found in humans that our sense of spirituality comes from one of the most primitive parts of our brain. And so all animals would have this. So it's not like our elevated self that is spiritually connected. It is our most essential ancient self that is spiritually connected. So actually animals, in my opinion, I know scientists are like saying, yes, animals are spiritual beings, but I would say, hey, they're probably more connected than us because they don't have all that gobbledygook stuff that we've evolved to have, right? So first of all, acknowledging that sense of spiritual ability that animals have, and then as human beings, using meditation as a way to offer this sort of like a language that animals understand and speak. Yes, we are all one. We are all connected, and it's so healing to sit together in this space. We see you as the light. We understand that you also can transcend this physical body, and understand that there is something more to this life, and we give them room to explore this space with us way beyond their physical and emotional issue. And you can see it happening in a Reiki session where they may come in with physical pain that they're experiencing, or emotional stuff that's going on, and you see it released and transcended, and this peace overtakes them and overtakes you, and you're sitting in this amazing space where all is well, and there's this feeling of all the species differences just melt away. It doesn't matter that I'm a person and you're a horse, or you're a dog or a cat, or any animal, really. We're all one in that space, and you can see that the animal understands that and connects with you in that space. So we can really, it's really beautiful to be able to share that spiritual understanding with different species. It's like a different way to communicate with them than we have with our brain. We can't communicate with our brain in this way. It has to come from our heart, right? The other thing I want you to consider with spiritual agency, the Reiki session creates this because we're just holding space and allowing it to happen. But also for animals, I want everyone to consider, let's honor animals as spiritual beings who are here for their own purpose and happiness, and not just here to please us. Yes, maybe your dog came into your life to help you heal from your last dog that you lost. I believe that about my dog that I have now. But that isn't the only reason they're here. They're not just here to serve us and our purpose and our journey. They actually have their own purpose, their own journey, which is also very important. And I think if we can start to consider that, especially in our Reiki space when we're sitting with them and we're sort of transcendent and we're just connected with them in that beautiful space of peace and love, then I think it's much easier to offer them agency in all the other levels and all the other ways, because we're seeing them, oh, this is your life. I want you to live your life as fully as you can. So I want you to make as many decisions. Show me your preferences. Show me what you like. Show me what you need. I'm listening. So becoming that experience of spiritual connection can help give us that purpose to make more room for them for agency on all levels of their life, even beyond the Animal Reiki session. I think that's really beautiful thing that can happen, something to think about. So as I said, I have many, many more things for you to read about and think about with animal agency in my blog this month. So make sure to check that out. It's on the homepage of my website right now. And I'd love to open it up now to you guys if anybody has any comments about agency or any questions about it as it relates to anything we've talked about tonight. I'll open it up to you guys to share, or anything else you'd like to share in your animal Reiki world. And we'll open that up before we finish with our meditation. You can also write something in the chat if you like. Yes, Joanne.
Oh,
okay, Robin, and then Joanne.
I was thinking about when I sit with a dog in the shelter and they're initially maybe barking at, looking at me, and my first human thing is, oh, they need to be quiet, or I need to tell them to be quiet. And then I'm becoming more and more aware of catching that immediately, and instead saying, oh, I hear you, and thinking how we shut animals down so often. It's like, why are we ever saying that? They're expressing what they need or want to express. And it was like an aha moment when I first realized this. It's like, how could I have never realized this all along? And so that's been, I like it now when they're barking at me, so I can say, oh, yes, I hear you, and I'm listening, and just nod and wait until they're done speaking what they have to speak. So
that's such a great change in the energy, because if the more that you get like stressed and, oh my God, they have to stop barking, they feel that stress from you, it probably makes them barking rev up and get worse. But if they feel that you're really listening and your energy is actually relaxing, it helps relax them. It's probably going to help them to not feel the need to bark quite as much, I would imagine, because they respond so instantly to our energy. So that's a great like twist in your perception to get your energy to open up and relax and feel safe to them, for sure. So I love that. That's great advice. Thank you. Joanne, do you like to share? You have to unmute yourself though. No? Do you want me to unmute you? How's that? No? No? It keeps on, I guess it's not letting you talk. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what's happening with that. Oh, all right. Any other comments or anybody? I see nothing in the chat from anybody. All right, well, this is a big topic and something that maybe some of you haven't even thought about before. And so I think just to start opening yourself up to that possibility of agency, and what will that look like when I'm offering Reiki, and how will it improve the way that I am able to understand things about the animal and what they can show me and teach me, the more room and space that I give them. Really interesting things that can happen. All right, so let's do our animal healing circle for tonight. Meditate together. So let's go into Gasho, palms together, and we'll just set our intention to dedicate all the energy of this practice to our animals. And so if there's a specific animal you'd like to invite into the space, just bring them to your mind and heart right now. We just invite them to step in and share the space if they wish, but it's completely up to them. And then we'll rest our hands on our lap and we'll do some hara breathing. So your hara is your energy center in your lower belly. It's like in the center of your physical body. And you can visualize it like a beautiful sphere of light. Hara is the energy of your center, your connection to earth, your grounding. It's your point of balance in your physical and emotional and spiritual body. And so now we're going to visualize our breath as a pure, bright and pure light. And as we breathe in, imagine it comes in through your crown, through the top of your head, and flows down your body all the way down to the hara. And then as you exhale, imagine that light can expand gently out your skin, into your aura, and into the universe, just out. So breathing in, filling your body with light, connecting with the hara, and breathing out, expanding that light. And breathing in, filling your body with light, connecting with your lower belly. Breathing out, expanding that light. And just take a few more breaths, envisioning that light moving in and expanding out as you inhale and exhale. And then just relax your breath and see yourself sitting in this beautiful space of light, the light within and the light around you. And this light is filled with perfect peace and harmony, perfect balance, calm and stillness, compassion and love, and the feeling that all is well. So just see yourself sitting in that light, radiating that beautiful message of love and compassion and balance and peace. And you can see this light as a beautiful invitation for your animals, if they'd like to step in and share that light. But it's totally up to them. Just an offering without expectation. And we recognize if they do choose to step in and share that their energy truly elevates the space, brightens it. They add and bring so much. And we're so humbled and honored when they choose to connect. So just take a minute to relax into that feeling of connection and compassion and offering. And we feel all of ourselves together in community, holding this space together, inviting all of the animals in with gentleness and stillness. And bringing our hands back into Gasho, just take a moment to thank and acknowledge your animals for however they chose to connect in this moment. It was just perfect because it was their choice. And setting our intention to finish, take a nice deep breath and slowly come back and open your eyes. Well, thank you all for holding that meditation space together. It's always so lovely to practice in community together, all with that open-minded gentleness for animals. All of us having that heart of love and compassion for the animals. So what a beautiful community. It's great to be with you all tonight. I wish you many blessings and hope to see you guys next time. So bye, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, Kathleen. Bye, everybody. Good to see you, Joanne.
Bye.
Bye.